digestive system begin?
The intestines?
Where does the digestive system begin?
The esophagus?
Where does the digestive system begin?
The stomach.
The process of digestion has 6 core steps that each take place in different parts of our digestive system: ingestion, propulsion, physical digestion, chemical digestion, absorption, and finally, defecation. So now let's go back to the question we started with. What is the first part of the body involved in digestion? The first organ, actually, is the mouth. I know it might be surprising, but the mouth is the first organ and the first part involved in digestion. The very first step is actually ingestion, which starts in the mouth, and it's where we decide to eat something. Food enters the alimentary canal through our mouth, where food is chewed and mixed with saliva. Some enzymes in the saliva begin breaking down the carbohydrates and the lipids in our food as well during this step. Food then leaves the mouth when the tongue and the pharyngeal muscles propel it into the esophagus. This act of swallowing, an example of the propulsion step, is the very last voluntary step of digestion until defecation. Propulsion refers to any movement of food through the digestive tract. Digestion includes both mechanical and physical parts. Mechanical digestion is purely a physical process that doesn't change the chemical composition of the food. Instead, it makes the food smaller and more dense to increase surface area and help it move more easily through the digestive tract. This step includes chewing and tongue movements to help the food get broken down, and it continues in the stomach as the food is churned. Chemical digestion starts in the mouth, as enzymes in the saliva begin to break down the carbohydrates and the lipids in our food. Lipids are the fat and the oil in the food that we eat, and carbs come from grains such as wheat and rice. In our stomach acids continue to break down the food, and digestive secretions break down the complex food molecules into their basic chemical building blocks, such as breaking up proteins into amino acids in the small intestine. Broken down food cannot provide the body with energy without entering the bloodstream and having nutrients be absorbed. This step occurs in absorption, which mostly happens in the small intestine. This is the most important step of digestion because without it, we would not get the nutrients that the food provides us with. Most nutrients are absorbed into the blood with the help of epithelial cells. The epithelial membrane opens up and allows nutrients to pass through the bloodstream, and then the nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream. The epithelial cells help facilitate this movement. As you can see in this picture, nutrients start off in the intestinal lumen, and then the epithelial cells slowly let in the nutrients into the blood. Without this crucial step of epithelial cells opening up and letting the nutrients in, our blood would not be able to have the nutrients. Finally, in the last step of defecation, undigested materials are removed from the body as feces. These usually include foods that are high in fiber because our body has a hard time digesting fiber. So now let's wrap up. What happens to our food when we take a bite of our sandwich? Where does the food go? Well, to start, as we talked about before, food starts in your mouth, where you chew it up into small pieces. It then travels down the path located in your throat called the esophagus into your stomach. In your stomach, the food is broken down further until it turns into a paste called chyme. The food then leaves the stomach to go into the small intestine. Here, bile from the gallbladder and enzymes from the pancreas further break down the nutrients and various parts of the food to get absorbed into the blood. Meanwhile, the large intestine absorbs water, vitamins, and mineral salts. Undigested fiber is mixed with mucus and bacteria to nourish the large intestine. Feces are formed in the large intestine, specifically the rectum, and are removed from the body through the anus. And that's digestion. There's so many different parts that are involved in making this process smooth, but ultimately our food gets digested without us even having to think about it.